Number 5. Yes, sir.
When the instruments of power were handed over to William Ruto, now acting president, the immediate takeover of presidential responsibility were evidenced by his exit at Harambee House. That houses the office of the president. And just as he left Monday evening, he arrived early Tuesday morning at the office of the president, ready to take up all that comes with the temporary incumbency. With his coat on his arm, he would emerge from this presidential limo received by his chief of staff, Marian Keitani, and would go straight into what the day's diary had in store for him. His first day in office as the acting president would begin with a briefing by Head of Public Service Joseph Kenywa. Ruto would then hold meetings with the Executive Director of the United Nations Office for Project Services, UNOPS, Grete Faremo, and the United Nations Development Programme Resident Representative, Nardos Bekele Thomas. Ruto also met the Kenya National High Commission for UNESCO, led by Dr. Evangeline Njoka. His afternoon saw him meet ICT Cabinet Secretary Dr. Fred Matiang'i and Konza Techno-City Board. With the constitutional provision of Article 147(3) in place, this temporary incumbency has its limits to what Ruto may do. He, for instance, does not have the aide-de-camp behind him, signaling that he is not the commander-in-chief even in a temporary capacity. Article 134(2) states what Ruto cannot do, and that is the nomination or appointment of the judges of the superior courts, the nomination or appointment of any other public officer whom this constitution or legislation requires the president to appoint, the nomination or appointment or dismissal of cabinet secretaries and other state or public officers, the nomination or appointment or dismissal of a high commissioner, ambassador or diplomatic or consular representative, the power of mercy and the authority to confer honors in the name of the people and the republic. Ruto is expected to chair meetings like that of the National Security Council and Cabinet that meets every Thursday. This unprecedented move that saw Ruto enjoy the authority of the presidency barely a year and a half into his term as deputy president necessitated by what Kenyatta terms a personal burden.
So to all those who are concerned that my personal attendance of the status conference compromises the sovereignty of our people or sets a precedent for the attendance of presidents before the court, be assured, this is not the case.
And it is this personal burden that Kenyatta had stated as so, even as he sought the presidency.
The way it currently is, many Kenyans are faced with personal challenges, and I take this as a personal challenge. I'm sure that my colleagues here also have other challenges. But those challenges do not prevent one from continuing with their day-to-day job. If the people of Kenya do decide to vote for me as their president, I will be able to handle the issue of clearing my name, while at the same time ensuring that the business of government continues, our manifesto and our agenda for Kenya is implemented.
And so while Ruto holds a fort, a power will be reversed back to Kenyatta once he returns from The Hague. While he may be operating from an office that is directly across the road from an office he sits in almost every other day, his execution of stately duties would appear not so normal after all for a section of Kenyans. So Ruto would continue to sit at the highest office of the land amid crowds milling around Harambee House, if only to catch a glimpse of a man who, just like Kenyatta, would not shy away from stopping and saying hi, but also has to bear a burden of his own at The Hague. Jackie Maribe for The Big Question.